Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks. Indira Gandhi National Open University School of Tourism and Hospitality Service Management, SOTHSM Certificate in Tourism Studies, CTS TS2 Tourism Development, Products, Operations, and Case Studies. Block-2 Guides and Escorts. Unit-8 Journey Through a Museum. 8.0 Objectives. In this unit we aim at familiarizing you with museum information, providing you with the skills needed to describe a museum to visitors, taking you on a journey through the Prince of Wales Museum, Bombay, as a case study, and giving you details about certain other activities performed by a museum. 8.1 Introduction. In this block you have so far discovered local history, described Taj Mahal to your tourist clients and have taken them on a pathfinding trip with a Sherpa. We now plan to take you on a journey through a museum. This will enable you to understand the peculiarities and attractions of a museum. You will then be in a better position to take your tourist groups on similar journeys through a variety of museums that exist in almost all parts of our country. We have chosen for you a very well-known museum viz. Prince of Wales Museum, Bombay for this jaunt. The choice has been guided primarily by the fact that this is one of the best-kept museums of India and it houses some splendid collections detailing the ancient most history of India. 8.2 Understanding a museum. As a tourist guide or otherwise also when you take visitors to a museum, it is important for you to know the variety and the range of the collections housed there. This information is of immense help to you in catering to the tourists who may not have common taste for all the things kept in the museum. On the contrary, it is most often the case that there are as many different interests in a group of tourists as is their actual count. In such situations, the variety and the range of your knowledge regarding the exhibits of a museum will stand you in good stead. You will also find this information handy in deciding to curtail or extend the visit of the group to a museum and may at times reap rich dividends if you succeed in evoking the appreciation of the tourist for the varieties and the artistic merit of the exhibits. We shall therefore insist that you collect detailed information about the museum. Arrange this information in convenient categories. Occasionally sift your information. Regularly update this information. Besides, when you guide visitors to a museum, you should make sure how much time the visitors have to spend there and know the area of their interest. Accordingly, you can adjust your commentary or exhibits and decide what to show, gloss over or give a passing reference only. 8.3 Journey through a museum. Now that you know how we are going to discuss this unit, we take you on a journey through Prince of Wales Museum, Bombay. All along this journey we shall be your guide. You should swap this role of guide for yourself when you take your group of tourists on a similar journey to this or any other museum. Since the characters of different museums differ from each other, this journey aims at presenting only a model. You may have to make suitable adjustments or alterations in your scheme for different museums. 8.3.1 Background information. Prince of Wales Museum is a major place of tourist interest. It is situated in South Bombay at a convenient location where buses are easily available. It is surrounded by other places of tourist interest. Annually about 1 million visitors visit this museum. It is well known for its rare collections as well as its modern display in the galleries. A museum houses historical objects, but it also has a history of its own. It is always good to start our journey with making brief statements about the origin, development and the collections displayed in the museum. The genesis of the museum at Bombay lies in the resolve of the British Indian government to provide a home for the archaeological specimens collected by Mr. Henry Cousins, the then Superintendent of the Archaeological Survey of India, Western Circle. Vide report of a committee set up in 1904, added the collections of works of art available at SOTHSM School of Art and elsewhere. The government also thought that with the Museum of Art and Archaeology there should be combined museum for science and natural history. It was specified that the main object of the museum should be educational. Location, telephones, timings, closed days, admission, baggage, photography, publications, 15961, Mahatma Gandhi Road, Phil, Mumbai 400-023. 2,44,484 and 2,44,519. 10.15 am to 18.00 pm sale of admission ticket loses at 17.45 pm. Museum remains closed on all Mondays, 26th January and 15th August. Admission fee is Rs. 3/ per adult and Rs. 1/ middle. For people below 12 years of age and students accompanied by teachers. Baggage not allowed inside the museum. It is to be deposited at the baggage counter. Photography is allowed on payment. Colored picture postcards, greetings cards, colored reproductions and publications are available at the publication counter. At public meeting held in Bombay on 14th of August 1905 it was decided to create an LL.I. permanent memorial to the royal visit in November 1905. The government provided the site measuring about 4 acres for the museum. Year. The presence of a distinguished gathering Prince of Wales laid the foundation of the L.M. building on 11th November 1905. Hence the name Prince of Wales Museum. Designs for the building were invited by competition and finally Mr. G. Witter, the then consulting architect to government, built the main building in the Indo-Saracenic style. You will be surprised to know that the Gol Gumbaz at Bijapur influenced the architecture of the museum. For the building locally available basalt stone was used. The building was completed in 1914. But due to World War I it was handed over to military for hospital purposes. Subsequently it was used for children's welfare exhibition. It was finally made over to the Board of Trustees of the museum in April 1921. The management and maintenance of the museum was entrusted to a Board of Trustees created under the Prince of Wales Museum Act of 1909. The museum was finally opened to the public on 10th of January 1922. 8.3.2 The plan and layout. The plan of the museum is quite simple. There is a central hall from which the staircases take you to the first and then the second floor. The galleries containing the exhibits run on both sides of this central approach. The plan is given below. It is not drawn to the scale but has been properly labeled. The plan is in 3 parts. The ground floor A, the first floor B, the second floor C. The labeling in each of these floors has been described below. Ground floor 1. Reception and publication counter 2. Kumarswamy Hall 3. Key Gallery 4. Toilets 5. Assyrian Palace Reliefs 6. Pre- and Proto-History 7. Stone Sculptures 8. Water Cooler 9. Birds 10. Mammals 11. Reptiles and fishes. First floor 12. Main Administrative Office 13. Indian Miniature Paintings 14. Decorative Arts 15. Indian Bronzes 16. Research Library 17. Nepal and Tibet Art 17A. Maritime Heritage of India. Second floor 18. Indian Arms 19. European Decorative Arts 20. European Paintings 21. Indian Textile 22. Far Eastern Art. The collection at the museum has been classified in 4 main sections: archaeology, art, painting, natural history. The central hall on the ground floor, as you enter the museum, has been converted into the Key Gallery. It serves as an introductory gallery of the museum, where few specimens from larger galleries are displayed. The showcases contain 1. Miniature paintings 2. Indian jade work 3. Weapons and objects of decorative arts 4. Chinese and Japanese exhibits 5. Ivory work 6. Woodwork. 7. IGNOU terracottas. 8. Colored tiles. 9. Stone sculptures. 10. Terracottas from Mohenjo-daro and of historical period. 11. Indian bronzes. 12. Mirpur Khas terracottas. By walking around Key Gallery you experience 5 millenniums of Indian art in one capsule. Look at the screen. This much basic information acquaints you somewhat with the museum. You now know which part to skip or show as per the interest of the visitor. If time is short, you may now come with us on a trip to its various sections housing priceless exhibits from the remotest part of India to its current cultural scene. 8.4 Archaeology section. Well, in this section are on display the most ancient exhibits. 8.4.1 Pre- and Proto-Historic exhibits. The Indian Paleolithic specimens are from the Kadapa and Bellary districts. OTX tools were presented by the Deccan College Postgraduate Research Institute, Pune. Middle Stone Age tools and some fossils were also presented by the Deccan College. Neoliths which comprise celts and hammer stones are from Amravati and Perumbair. There are also implements from Banda. These were presented by the VP State Museum, Lucknow. The antiquities of Indus Valley culture are from Rangpur, Nanujadaro, Kotbij and Hisbani. The antiquities include plain and painted pottery, beads and bangles, seals and sealings, tools and toys, mother goddesses, fish hooks, shell spoons, saddle quems and muller, grains, weights, bricks, storage jars and stone objects. The diorama depicts the Great Bath and town planning of Mohenjo-daro. The Chalcolithic phase in Maharashtra is shown by models of pottery, baking kiln and burial pottery. The finds are from Jorve, Nasik, Nevasa, and Namagaon. The antiquities from the Iron Age, Megalithic period, are from Adichanalluryo and Perumbair. They include iron implements, pottery bowls and burial urns. One end of the gallery displays unique Assyrian palace reliefs from Nimrod, a slab from Persepolis and 2 fragments from Egypt. 8.4.2 Stone sculptures. The most important examples are from Pitlakhora, Elephanta, and Aihole. The museum has varied collection of Gandhar sculptures depicting the Jataka stories, and some decorative designs. The stucco examples include heads and figures of Buddha, Bodhisattvas, donors and musicians. The Shiva Gana from Kho and another lion-faced Gana from Madhya Pradesh show the Gupta idiom at its best. The figures of the Buddha from Mirpur Khas show transformation from the Gandhar to Gupta idiom, while the figures of the donor and Kubera show well-developed Gupta types. A major part of the sculpture in the museum is medieval, drawn from almost all parts of India. The 8th century bas-relief from Aihole depicting Brahma seated on lotus points, a landmark in early Chalukya sculpture, and another Brahma image from Elephanta exudes strength of purpose. Later sculptures from other parts of the Deccan, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Karnataka are imbued with a decorative spirit. 8.4.3 Bronzes. One of the earliest bronzes is of Parshvanatha from eastern India of 2nd century AD. In 1967, Sri Mahendra Kumar Gupta presented to the museum 29 bronzes from the collection of the late SMT Amravati Gupta, which includes some important examples of eastern Indian bronzes: Padmapani from Kashmir, Buddha from Nagpattinam and Maitreya from Nepal. Among the outstanding examples mention may be made of 2 Vishnu images of Pallava period, Rashbhanatha from Chahardi of Rashtrakuta period and Bahabli from Shravana Belgola of Ganga period. There are also some images of Chola period. You must remember here that the minimum skill required is a knowledge of history, particularly art history. You must read authentic books in this regard to update yourself. 8.4.4 Terracottas. Majority of the terracotas in the museum collection come from Mirpur Khas, and only a few specimens from Rajghat and Mathura. They fall under 4 chronological divisions, viz. Maurya, Sunga, Kushan, and Gupta. The excess collection from Mirpur Khas is kept in the reserve. 8.4.5 Inscriptions and coins. N_I2 copperplate inscriptions are now kept in the reserve collection. 2 fragmentary stone edicts No. 8 and 9 from Sopara, Suketuvarman's inscription from Thane, and beautifully engraved Dhar inscription are of special importance. Others include Silhara and Kannada epigraphs. The 3 Kufic inscriptions from South Arabia are of special importance on paleographic grounds. Other Islamic inscriptions are in Naqshi and Nishtalik scripts. A very fine specimen of the art of calligraphy of the charming Nishtalik script is to be seen in the inscription from Surat, which describes the foundation of a caravanserai laid by Ishaq Beg, an important official of Shah Jahan. Besides these, there are some inscriptions in cuneiform script and some other from South Arabia. An excellent coin collection numbering over 3,700 is kept in a strong room. The range is from punch-marked coins of 6th century AC to the minted coins of the East India Company. The collection is rich in coins of Gujarat Sultans, Mughal and of the native states. The gold coins numbering 1153 include some fine specimens of Kushan and Gupta period and the zodiac coins of Jahangir. 8.5 Art Section. The art section exhibits are of various kinds. We describe them below. 8.5 1 Decorative arts. The ivory Buddhist figures in the museum representing the meditation of Buddha and the figure of Avalokiteshvara stand as the highest landmark in the art of ivory carving in India. The museum possesses a carved ivory box of the Vijayanagara period and a royal portrait of the Naik period. The museum has a good collection of Gujarat woodwork. It includes the figures of dancers, musicians and chauri bearers. The most important of them, however, is the elaborately carved and painted Jain Mandap of 16th-17th century, probably from Patan. There is a teakwood cabinet especially prepared for Sir Doraba Tata after the style of Birbal's palace at Fatehpur Sikri. Among several examples of sandalwood carving from Karnataka, the most important of them all is a rectangular casket elaborately carved with mythological scenes, floral and animal designs. The chief articles of jade and crystals of the Mughal period on display are cups, trays, spice boxes, spoons, bowls, sword and dagger handles. The museum has a good collection of these. 8.5.2 Arms and armor. Different kinds of swords, daggers, knives, spears, battle axes, kukris and matchlocks manufactured between the 16th and 17th centuries form valuable collection. Among the historical weapons may be mentioned the swords of Sultan Alauddin Khalji, Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb. The shield of Akbar Damascene with zodiacal symbols is dated A.D. 1593. Mention also may be made of personal armor suit of Humayun and Akbar. 8.5.3 Indian textile. The museum has some selected examples of the 18th century Kashmir shawls, patkas and kamarbandhs. The collection of 18th century brocades includes saris of Banaras, Surat and Aurangabad origin. The patola silk in the museum is interesting specimen of tie-dye variety from India. It also has a good number of saris and turbans printed by wax printing process of Tanjore. 8.5.4 Far Eastern art. The Chinese and Japanese collection from the House of Tou include porcelain, ivory objects, objects of jade and other semi-precious stones, crystal objects, snuff bottles and embroidery work. There are also examples of lacquer work. 8.5.5 Maritime Heritage of India. This gallery was recently set up with the cooperation of the Indian Navy. Here BLTV LJ is made to show the origin and spread of maritime activity in India from the times to the medieval period through antiquities, models, charts, maps and photographs. There are plans to extend the gallery to include the modern period also. 8.6 Painting section. This section houses three main categories of paintings. 8.6.1 Indian miniature painting. The museum has a fine illustrated manuscript of the Kalpa Sutra and the Kalakachari Katha datable to the end of the 14th century. The Rorchanda paintings show the Sultanate, 14th-15th, idiom at its best. The Gita Govinda paintings in the same style show more developed form. The museum has some interesting examples of the Akbar period paintings which include portraits and folios from the Razmnama and the Ramayana. and the illustrated Miz of Anwar-I Suhaili. Paintings of the Jahangir period include one depicting his visit to Saint Chishti's mausoleum at Ajmer, portraits of nobles and above all some animal and bird drawings for which his period was known. The paintings of Shah Jahan's period include portraits of the emperor, his forefathers, his Sandarashikoh and Sufi saints. The period of Aurangzeb is represented by portraits, convivial scenes and pictures illustrating the life or the period. The museum has some interesting paintings of the Bijapur school which include a convivial gathering and some excellent portraits of Muhammad Adil Shah. The largest paintings on cloth, the procession of Abdullah Qutub Shah on the throne and Chand Bibi and her maidens in the museum collection are interesting examples of the art of Golconda in the middle of the 17th century. The later phase of Golconda school is represented by Ragmala sets, portraits and drinking scenes. The collection of the Rajasthani painting in the museum is both rich and varied. One may enjoy in the gallery the rich color of Mewar and Marwar schools, the dramatic landscape of Bundi and the lyricism of Krishnagarh school. The museum has some interesting early Basoli paintings depicting some rulers. A number of paintings of Jammu school depict Raja Balwant Singh engaged in various occupations. 8.6.2 Modern paintings. Important additions have been made to the paintings in the art section since 1923 by the acquisition of paintings by Indian artists of the Bengal, Bombay and other Indian schools and by a number of prints depicting Old Bombay presented by Mr. F. V. Evans. 8.6.3 Western paintings. The two large halls on the second floor of the museum are used for displaying Western painting. These were received from the house of Tatas. Some of the important paintings by well-known artists are mentioned below. 1. The Muses on Mount Helicon, Nicolas Poussin 1594 to 1665. French School. The greatest master of the classical French school. 2. The Sword of Damocles, large-size impressive painting. 3. Portrait of Old Woman, after Rembrandt French School. 4. Venus and Adonis, Carlo Malati 1625 to 1713. Roman School. The artist became court painter to Louis IV. 5. Shepherdess and Sheep, C. Troyan, 1810 to 1865. French School. 6. The Gleaner, John Philip, 1817 to 1867. British School. A delicate and sympathetic study of girl. 7. Portrait of a Lady, G. Ronnie, 1734 to 1802. British School. 8.7 Natural History Section. This section was established under the terms of agreement arrived between the Bombay Natural History Society and the trustees of the Prince of Wales Museum in 1923. Deputations of Mr. S. H. Prata, curator, to the museums in England, America and the continent, in 1922 and 1926, was of great use in the successful establishment of educational services and methods of display in the galleries by introducing dioramas. Even the internationally famous ornithologist Mr. Salim Ali served as curator for a short duration. The section consists of the Bombay Natural History Society's interesting collections of birds, mammals, reptiles, amphibians, fish, and invertebrates. 8.7.1 Bird Gallery. This gallery shows a variety of birds from all over India. An endeavor is being made to show a series of group cases illustrating the nesting habits of Indian birds. These include the nests of tailor bird, weaver bird, night herons and the most notable Great Indian _hornbill. The three dioramas in the gallery show vultures, flamingos and Himalayan bearded vultures. 8.7.2 Mammal Gallery. The most impressive dioramas in this gallery display bison, black buck and Great Indian bustard, spotted deer, Bengal tigers, and the majestic Kashmir stag. Some of the animals which died in Bombay Zoo, such as rhino and white tiger, have also been displayed in this gallery. 8. 3 reptiles, amphibians and fishes. The exhibits in the gallery include crocodiles, common Indian lizards, group of water monitor, snakes, Russell's viper with young ones, cobra nesting in an anthill, Sea snakes in a coral reef showing adaptation of snakes to an aquatic life. Checkered water snakes showing color variation in snakes. Green whip snake and green pit vipers showing color resemblances in snakes. Frogs, freshwater fishes, giant perch caught in Bombay Harbour. The dioramas show Malayan python, sharks and turtles laying eggs. 8.7.4 Invertebrates, a series of student cases intended as an introduction to the study of insects, show models of housefly, mosquitoes, bedbug and headlouse. Exhibits illustrate how diseases are spread by insects and how they may be prevented. Classification and distribution of Indian insects are also shown. Indian marine and land shells are also on display. This gallery is at present closed to the public. The natural history section is very popular among youngsters. 3.8 Educational activities. The museums with such enormous and varied collections, as you have just now seen during your journey through the galleries of the Prince of Wales Museum, Bombay, serve as ideal places for carrying out educational activities. We give below details relating to the museum at Bombay. You might benefit from this information in case some or more members of the tourist group you take around the galleries show interest in such activities. Children's Creative Center in the museum premises is used for children's activities. Educational officer of the museum invites school children accompanied by their teachers and delivers slide lecture, and later they are taken around the museum galleries. During summer and winter vacations, classes are arranged to teach children clay modeling, painting and paper crafts, etc. 8.1 Exhibitions. Museum periodically holds exhibitions on different themes. It has also participated in Festival of India abroad by holding exhibitions in Sweden, Japan, and Mauritius. Catalogues of Sweden and Japan exhibitions are published. Occasionally, museum arranges lectures by eminent scholars for the benefit of the public. Kumaraswamy Memorial Lectures by a renowned scholar is an annual feature. Kumaraswamy Hall is used for holding exhibitions and lectures. It is also given on hire to outside parties for sale exhibitions on rental basis. A few enthusiastic ladies from Bombay started a society about 25 years ago to act as friends of the museum. This is the first society of its kind in India. It has its own membership and periodically arranges lectures and visits for the benefit of its members in cooperation with the museum. 8.8.2 Research. The museum is recognized as a postgraduate research institute for guiding Ph.D. students studying Indian art. Museum is permanently affiliated to the Bombay University. There is a very fine research library for the study of Indian art and architecture. It has books on natural history. Here one can find all latest important publications including periodicals. A researcher can refer to this library with tile permission of the director of the museum. Books still are not issued out of the library. 8.8.3 Reprography and Conservation. The museum has a well-equipped photographic studio with a darkroom, equipments for film development and photo enlargements. It supplies black and white prints at reasonable rates to scholars. Museum has a very good photo archives and a collection of color slides which are used for lectures and publications. The restoration studio of the museum is equipped for restoration of oil paintings. Museum also has a laboratory for chemical treatment of antiquities. 8.9 Summary. Undoubtedly, Prince of Wales Museum is an important museum out of nearly 400 museums in our country. It is very popular with foreign and domestic visitors, who visit it in large numbers. The museum houses some rare exhibits which are not to be seen elsewhere. The display using proper color scheme, lighting and labeling is adequate and pleasing to the eye. Cleanliness is maintained inside the showcases and outside as well. On the whole, this is a well-maintained museum which makes many visitors to visit it more than once. The educational activities for the primary and secondary school level and also for college students are comprehensive. Guidance is given to postgraduate students in their chosen subjects for doctoral studies. We hope that you have got sufficient clues as to how to show and explain the museum. You can apply this to museums in your areas. Thank you.